Does it get any worse than this for the Niners?
I don't know if it gets any worse, but the thing that just hurt me more than anything was the tackling. Like, there were 15 missed tackles in the first half alone. I just have never seen it from these same men in these jerseys. Now, there are some new faces, some new people on the D line, but 15 missed tackles in a game is mind-boggling. But 15 and a half of football, I mean, it was disappointing to watch. It was disappointing to feel. I mean, feel helpless. You feel helpless watching it happen because Josh Jacobs just was doing whatever he wanted. I mean, it looked like 2 or 3 guys have a hold of him, and he just runs through the tackle. I mean, it was demoralizing consistently. And that was just the first drive of the game that he was doing this. He was, I think he had 77 yards in the first quarter or something like that. And it just seemed like they had no answer to stop him. He was hitting the first level, second level, third level, and they were just really taking the hearts of the San Francisco 49ers. I think their first drive may have been 7 minutes. And it just seemed like it was just an inevitability that they would score on that drive. Then you say, okay, all right, it's a rough start for the defense, but that happens sometimes. And you think, hey, the offense, you know, I know you got a new quarterback, but this is Kyle. He'll craft something up. I know that that Hafley knows him well. Jeff Hafley, he coached us the secondary my first year in San Francisco in 2018. Really good coach. Understands defense. Understands that offense really well. Has answers. Has the playmakers in the secondary to make plays. Obviously, Xavier McKinney, friend of the program, has made a ton of plays and made some plays in this game. But they just couldn't get anything going. They looked disoriented. I mean, they're slipping, they're sliding. And in the first half, they really had nothing to hang their hat on. They end up putting together a touchdown drive. Really just more of a sigh of relief as a fan watching this game to say, man, this could have been really bad in that first half. Christian Watson drops a wide open touchdown, and you just say, maybe that's the break the San Francisco 49ers defense needed to get back on track, to make some plays. And in the second half, for all intents and purposes, the offense started okay, but, you know, I wasn't able to convert on 4th down in the first drive of the second half. The defense stands up. The defense is looking like their old selves in that second half, getting stops, tackling, moving, flying around. Then here come the turnovers, interception, and then a fumble in the pocket from Brandon Allen, and then a fumble from Christian McCaffrey. And that's when you knew, Mitchell, this was not their day. I really don't have the answers, because you knew that the injuries, this team is so top-heavy that when you're without your high-paid guys, when you're without Trent Williams, the O-line is going to be average to below average. I mean, without him, and that's why they paid him so much money to come back. That's why when he was holding out, he knew that he would get his money, because without him, they are not a great or good offensive line. But with him, they move into a different stratosphere, because they can do a lot of things to slide away, to protect the rest of those guys, and really make his job very difficult, sliding away, him on the backside, running towards him, running behind 71 like they always do. But when he's not there, the identity just changes. And the offense didn't do Brandon Allen any favors today. There were drop passes all over the place. Tight end drops pass. Debo dropped one in traffic. It looked like, you know, he was about to get hit. It was a tight window pass, led to an interception for Xavier McKinney. And it just couldn't get right. You couldn't find a way. You couldn't see it. And I just don't see the hope, you know, that I want to see. And I know that people are like, man, they're considering Daniel Jones. Even that's disappointing to me, Mitchell. That just shows me how
I know you want him, Richard. I know you want him there in San Francisco. You've spoken too highly of him this entire season, man. I would love to see him don a 49ers red jersey just for you, my friend.
Did you know that feeding your lawn regularly builds a stronger, more resilient lawn that naturally crowds out weeds? Scott's Turf Builder products provide year-round feeding with essential seasonal solutions for your lawn. Scott's has a subscription plan that makes caring for your lawn easier than ever. They put their expertise to work by analyzing the location, size, and condition of your lawn to create a custom plan for your yard. And they'll ship you the right product to apply at the perfect time. By answering only a few short questions about your lawn, Scott's experts will craft a program that's right for you and your yard. Visit scotts.com to learn more. Feed your lawn. Feed it.
The other side of the field, this Packers team, they're 6-1 in the last 7 games. Of course, they took the L to my Lions. But, they've been winning tight games, minus this game. They've beaten the Rams, the Cardinals, the Texans by 2, the Jags by 3, the Bears last week by 1, and now they beat up on your depleted 49ers. How worried should the rest of the NFC be about these Green Bay Packers?
I don't know if you're worried, but you're as good as your record is, and they have a great record. They're 8-3 in a very, very difficult NFC North. So you got to give them credit. They've been, Josh Jacobs, this is probably one of his best games, just consistent this game. 26 carries. Anytime a back got over 26 carries, 103 yards, 3 touchdowns, that's a bruising, punishing performance, one that really takes the wheel of the defense and demoralizes. And if they can live like that, I feel a lot better than if they have to rely on Jordan Love to consistently win them games. Not that he's not talented enough, but it's just a propensity if he keeps throwing the football to turn it over. And he has this season at a really high tilt. This game, only threw the ball 23 times for 163 yards, but it had 2 touchdowns. And even one of the passes, it was obviously a free play, but he threw an interception on that pass and had a couple other interceptable passes. But when he's able to push the ball down the field and pick his spots, and they have a great running game and defense is causing chaos, Rashawn Gary gets a sack, Lucas Van Ness gets a sack, forced fumble recovery at the 16-yard line, short fields for the offense. I think it's perfect for what he's able to do, and it makes them a very dangerous team. But just like we saw last year in the playoffs, if you force him to win the game with his arm consistently, it can go great because he's an accurate ball passer. He's an accurate thrower of the football, and he can make tight window throws, but he's also a high-risk taker. That's why you see all the interceptions happening. So I think Green Bay Packers fans and LaFleur would feel better if they have this running game going like it is in order to really kind of keep him buoyed and give him a really strong foundation and base to work around, so all the pressure isn't on his shoulders. So I feel good about him, but just like the Minnesota Vikings, what are they, 9-2 now?
Yep.
And do you feel like, hey, every team in the NFC should fear them and nobody wants to see them in the playoffs? I don't know if everybody feels like that, but their record is fantastic. So they're going to be the 5th seed, and I don't know if you're the 4 seed. 4 seed is, who is it, Tampa Bay? If they're if they're shaking in their boots when the Minnesota Vikings come to town, or if they be shaking in their boots playing the Green Bay Packers, I just don't know.
Yeah. Well, they're going to have a big test this Thanksgiving on Thursday night against the Dolphins. When the Dolphins come to town, the Dolphins are hot right now. For folks that are done with Thanksgiving dinner, just fresh off of watching Tommy DeVito take on Cooper Rush, there's a doozy of a game on Thursday night. So we'll see there. But then the Niners, they need to get right quick. They go on the road to Buffalo next Sunday night. Richard, that's going to be a one to watch. Is that a must-win game at this point for them?
Every game's a must-win. Every single game is a must-win, and it's literal. If they lose another game, the playoffs are pretty much out of the picture, and you're playing for pride at that point just because of how well these other teams are playing. We just talked about 2 other wild card teams with 2 and 3 losses. And then you have teams in your division that have beat you, continuing to elevate. Seattle Seahawks defense has found their rhythm. Their offense scored against the Arizona Cardinals team that hasn't given up a touchdown in 2 games. And so if they start to find their footing and start to create distance, then I get even more stressed out about this team, because I just can't understand where the wins are going to come from. And I don't recognize this team. I don't recognize it. There's not a foundation. There's not somewhere to that you say, hey, they're a defensive team, or they're an offensive team, or they run the ball well, or they do this well. or I mean, let's not even mention what the special teams have been doing. So it's a must win, but I'm slowly but surely just begrudgingly losing hope in this season. And I'm, you know, I have as much faith in this team as anybody. I thought they'd be in the Super Bowl this season. And it's very hard to watch this tape week after week and be out without being honest with myself and saying, I don't know. You know, I don't know. I'm going to watch Buffalo this week. I'm going to watch San Francisco's tape, and I'm just going to try to find the answers and try to find ways where I could see this team beating Buffalo in Buffalo after watching what Buffalo did to the Kansas City Chiefs, what Buffalo has done this season. It's going to be tough, Mitchell. And if Brock Purdy isn't healthy, if Trent Williams isn't healthy, if they're not getting a spark from somewhere, then